Finance Bill 2026, citing punitive taxation measures. Welcome to Easy Friday. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Byron Abuli. Now, police are holding 8 learners in connection with the fire incident at Utumishi Girls Senior School, Gilgil, Nakuru County, that claimed 16 lives, leaving 75 others injured on Thursday. Education Cabinet Secretary Migos Ogamba said preliminary investigations indicate that the fire was an act of arson, and the 8 students arrested will be arraigned in court on Tuesday. Following the tragic incident, Ogamba said the entire school's board of management has been disbanded, and 2 teachers who had prior information of the planned attack but failed to act will also have to face disciplinary measures.
Police have arrested 8 students in connection with the fire incident at Utumishi Girls Senior School in Gilgil, Nakuru County. Education Cabinet Secretary Migos Ogamba says investigations have pointed to an act of arson, and the 8 were arrested as persons of interest in the planning and execution of the arson attack. Ogamba's remarks corroborating a statement issued by the DCI, which said after extensive interviews with students, teachers and other witnesses and detailed analysis of available CCTV footage, the 8 were identified as prime suspects in arson attack and are currently in custody, awaiting to be arraigned in court.
The investigation will ascertain the individual roles in the planning and execution of this heinous act. Those found culpable will be charged in accordance with the provisions of the Penal Code and other relevant laws. We have indications that they will be presented to court as early as Tuesday next week.
Ogamba added that the school's board of management has been dissolved for failing to ensure compliance with the school safety manual and the basic education regulations, with TSC taking appropriate and immediate disciplinary action against the school principal for failing to act even after being informed of a plan and raised by a section of Form 3 learners.
In particular, there was congestion in the dormitory and one exit door was locked contrary to the prescribed safety requirements.
Kwa mashule yote, please have your ears among the students. All the teachers must have a way of getting feedback. Hakuna vile wanafunzi 8, 10, 20 wanasapanga njama ya kuchoma dormitory na mwalimu asisikie.
2 teachers who also failed to act even after having been informed of the planned attack will face the TSC as detectives continue with investigations to establish the motive of the heinous act.
Number 3, 2 teachers were informed of this planned unrest by a section of Form 3 learners. However, these teachers did not take appropriate action before the arson, despite having been informed of this incident beforehand.
Tilio Marco for Easy Friday.
Now, a group of anxious parents are still camping at Utumishi Girls Senior School in Gilgil Gate, seeking answers on the whereabouts of their children. Parents, especially those whose children were undergoing interrogation inside the school, attempted to force their way into the institution, alleging lack of transparency from the authorities. Meanwhile, parents who had gone to Naivasha Hospital mortuary for DNA samples collections were forced to turn back to the school where the exercise took place.
Friday morning at Utumishi Academy, forensic teams from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations were still documenting the scene. However, the long wait for parents continued as officers periodically came out to update records on the number of students still unaccounted for.
They are not really disclosing, but all indications are that she was a victim of the ones that lost their life. We are pleading that we get to know the exact position.
At one point, the wait became unbearable for parents whose children were under interrogation. Teams, including those from the Red Cross, were on site to offer psychosocial support to parents. The situation later calmed down after parents were briefed by the county commissioner and the forensic team on the status of the interrogation.
Unatueleza hivi, kuna wale wanajua watoto yao wako hapa.
Meanwhile, parents who lost their children and had gone to Naivasha for the collection of DNA samples expressed frustration as they were told the exercise was taking place at the school.
After the taking of the samples, these guys told us to wait for the results for a few minutes. So we are yet to get the results.
DNA imesemekana itakuwa siku 4-5 na sisi Waislamu hatuwezi ongojea hivyo.
The families now await the results to identify their loved ones. For Virginia Wangari, a parent from Samburu, it was all joy as she walked out with her daughter. She's among those who survived the inferno after jumping through a window.
Kuna exit door, but sasa wakutuletea kifunguno hakuwa. But kuna bali nilitoa cardboards, tuliweza kupita. Unaweza ruka, upatane na stairs, upite tu stairs vizuri. But sasa like venye mimi, moshi ilikuwa imejaa kwa mwili.
Sasa wazazi tuangalie watoto wetu. Hakika kama mtoto huyu alifanya hivyo, lazima mzazi akuwe anajua tabia fulani iko na huyo mtoto. Tujishuguze hata sisi wazazi.
I wish to inform the country that we have been able to account for all the students of Utumishi Academy. We have been able to account for those who are hospitalized, for those who passed on. Postmortem will begin tomorrow.
Kuna familia zitajiweza kimasanduku tutapeana. Kama ni transport bodies to any part of the country, tutapeana pia our VIP access, tutasimama na hizi familia ambazo zimefiliwa.
For now, parents continue to await DNA results to help identify their loved ones and accord them a final send-off. Nancy Okware reporting from Utumishi Girls Senior School in Gilgil, Nakuru County.
Thank you, Nancy, for keeping us up to date with all that's happening at Utumishi Girls Senior School. Moving on, the National Council of Churches of Kenya has rejected the Finance Bill 2026, claiming it does not protect vulnerable households as it seeks to expand the tax base. Appearing before the National Assembly Finance Committee, the clergy called for the withdrawal of the bill and a review of a proposed new taxation measure, terming them punitive. Mobile telecommunication company also submitted their reservations on the increase of excise duty on imported phones from 10% to 25%.
On the 6th day of stakeholders' engagement on the finance bill, the National Assembly Finance Committee received submissions from the religious leaders. The Anglican Church of Kenya, led by Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit, and the National Council of Churches of Kenya raised concerns over the absence of meaningful pay-as-you-earn relief, supporting the proposal by the Kenya Bankers Association of a 5% reduction on payee across all tax bands. The clergy, while calling for the withdrawal of the Finance Bill 2026, warned that the taxes will increase inflation and worsen the cost of living for vulnerable households.
The NCCK recommends that the Finance Bill 2026 be withdrawn for a people-centered overhaul or substantially amended, because it raises taxes and expands enforcement powers without sufficient expenditure control.
The church also calls for stronger action against corruption and custom leakages instead of overburdening small traders with excessive taxation.
The clergy now wants the government to conduct a detailed economic impact assessment before implementing taxes affecting fuel, transport and digital systems.
Mr. Chair, we urge that you kindly protect faith-based institutions, the charitable and non-profit work, which rely on donations from individuals and institutions that have already paid taxes.
Similar reservations on proposed taxation were also registered by Kiharu member of National Assembly Didi Nyoro, who pushed for exemption of tax on fuel products.
We have a 74 shillings opportunity plus a 17 shillings opportunity to do something at the pump price. And therefore, I want to dissuade all of us, when we say an oil producing country is a price taker, I agree in terms of landing cost, but there is a lot we can do in terms of our taxes and levies, which account for a lot.
Mobile phone companies also submitted their reservations for the proposed taxation measures, including increment of excise duty on imported phones from 10% to 25%. The Finance Committee is now expected to tour 15 counties as it engages citizens on the proposed revenue-raising measures. Gishoke Washira, Easy Friday.
Parliament has summoned the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Aden Duale, to explain the government's decision to allow the quarantine of U.S. citizens exposed to Ebola in Kenya. The summons by the National Assembly's Health Committee next Tuesday come as the High Court on Friday suspended the establishment and operationalization of an Ebola quarantine facility in Kenya by the United States. Of the 137 Ebola cases confirmed, 129 cases are in Democratic Republic of Congo, where 18 have died, while neighboring Uganda has 1 fatality from the 8 confirmed cases.
The government's decision to host a quarantine facility for the U.S. citizens exposed to Ebola has elicited sharp scrutiny, prompting Parliament to summon Health CS Aden Duale next week, Tuesday. This is just hours after the High Court suspended the move, pending hearing and determination of a constitutional petition filed by governance watchdog Katiba Institute. In the Friday morning ruling, Lady Justice Patricia Nyakundi also barred the transfer of persons exposed to Ebola to Kenya. Katiba Institute argued that the proposed arrangement between Kenya and the United States for the establishment and operationalization of Ebola-related quarantine facility reportedly to be located in Laikipia County raises constitutional, public health and sovereignty concerns. The proposals have sparked public outrage, with sections of leaders from Laikipia County faulting the government for not engaging the public.
Na kwa hivyo tumekataa na tumekubaliana kama viongozi na kama wakaaji wa Laikipia County, hatutaki quarantine hiyo imependekezwa ati itaanzishwa katika Laikipia County, kwa sababu hiyo ni kutahadisha. It is to expose our people of Laikipia kwa mambo ya Ebola.
Hatuja kuwa tayari na hatutakuwa na hatutaki kamwe.
The court will give further directions on Tuesday. The developments come against the backdrop of fresh infections, with statistics from Africa's Centers for Disease Control indicating that a total of 137 Ebola cases have been confirmed in 2 African countries, 129 in the Democratic Republic of Congo and 8 in Uganda. DRC has recorded 18 fatalities and Uganda 1. The World Health Organization says that the outbreak in DRC has recorded a fatality rate of between 30% to 50%, with WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus now in DRC to assess the response efforts. The Democratic Republic of Congo has faced several Ebola outbreaks, with health systems collapsing, especially in conflict-hit regions. Kamche Menza for Easy Friday.
President William Ruto has assented to 3 critical bills that will strengthen disaster response, protect the forests and deliver equitable development to all parts of the country. The new laws are the National Disaster Risk Management Act 2023, the Forest Conservation and Management Amendment Act 2025, and the Equalization Fund Appropriation Act 2025 at State House, Nairobi.
The National Disaster Risk Management Act 2023 provides for the development of national and county disaster risk management plans and an integrated early warning system to enhance preparedness, prevention, and timely responses to disasters. Cabinet Secretary for Interior Kipchumba Murkomen hailed the enactment, saying it's a major milestone in strengthening the country's capacity to prevent, prepare for, respond to, and recover from disasters. He says it comes at a critical moment following a series of deadly fire incidents in learning institutions, with the most recent being the Utumishi Academy fire tragedy. The amendments in the Forest Conservation and Management Act 2025 intend to enhance sustainable forest management, promote climate-resilient forestry, strengthen governance and institutional coordination within the forestry sector, promote the conservation and rehabilitation of forest resources, and improve the participation of communities and other stakeholders in forest management. The Equalization Fund Appropriation Act 2025 appropriates a total of 16.8 billion Kenya shillings for the current financial year to be shared among 34 counties identified as marginalized areas. The monies are to be utilized to implement projects in various constituencies in each identified counties.
President William Ruto has commended representatives of the Kenyan diaspora from 40 countries for being excellent ambassadors of the country. Speaking at a meeting in State House, Nairobi, Ruto said the Kenya Kwanza administration has made it easier for the Kenyan diaspora to engage with the government, own homes under the affordable housing, and support their families by paying for medical insurance with the Social Health Authority. At the same time, the president added that the government is mobilizing Kenyans to find jobs overseas, saying 540,000 Kenyans have found work abroad in the past 3 years, following the streamlining of the sector and elimination of fraudsters.
First, let me commend you for putting your best foot forward in different parts of the world. You have kept our Kenyan flag flying very high. And I will tell you that because I meet many people across the world, I meet professionals, I meet people who run companies, I meet people who run organizations, and the consistent report that I get about the people of Kenya is that they are the best workforce anywhere in the world.
Today, as a diaspora-based, broad-based coalition, we stand firm in our belief that the continuity of leadership is essential for the completion and consolidation of the transformative programs that you have laid foundation.
Our remittances have grown to 4.595 billion, the single largest source of foreign exchange of the Republic. Every shilling we bring, every shilling we send home now travels through a system that has been stabilized and strengthened under your watch.
They have been to Talanta Stadium, they have seen some affordable housing, they are doing other activities, they are going to be planting trees, they are visiting some counties. I was very excited. It is easy, Your Excellency, to lead this team. It is easy to serve these people.
Moving on, the Kenya Revenue Authority has fortified its systems to ensure seamless filing even as the deadline for filing returns fast approaches. The taxman says to address the tendency by Kenyans to file their returns at the last minute, sufficient multiple platforms have been provided to enable every eligible taxpayer to update their records. The self-care plan, where a taxpayer can file their returns at the comfort of their home through WhatsApp or a short code, is one such platform that KRA is currently promoting through the Jijue Jibeta File and Pay campaign. The campaign by KRA and its media partner, the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, was in Machakos County on Friday, with stops in Tala, Mututini, Machakos Town, Chumvi, Mlolongo, and Syokimau.
We studied the trends over time, and so we only had one channel to file tax returns, and that was through iTax. So what have we done within the last financial year? We've opened up more channels. So you don't only have to use iTax to file your tax returns, you can use eCitizen, you can use the USSD code, you can use WhatsApp, you can come to our offices, you can go to the mobile clinics. The options are enormous. Therefore, what we're doing is we're distressing the central system that we had initially, and now there are multiple channels through which you can file your return. Make sure you keep your acknowledgement receipt. You get it through your SMS or your WhatsApp. That is proof that you have filed your tax returns. The roadshow is supported by mobile clinics. So just in case the roadshow passes you by, there is a stationary mobile clinic. So you don't have to go to our offices. You can go to the mobile clinic next to you.
Now, a section of elderly women from Kiambu has stamped worrying the trend of abductions and killings targeting children. The irate women claimed the increased cases of disappearances and killing of young school-going children whose bodies are dumped with missing body organs are a reminder of the dark days of the 80s, when the country witnessed similar occurrences. Led by Njeri Wawaweru, the women said the pain of a mother burying her child is unbearable, adding that they refuse to sit back and watch children become statistics of negligence and violence, calling on the Directorate of Criminal Investigations to dismantle criminal networks behind the abductions and murders. The women also urged the Ministry of Education to introduce awareness and emergency response skills in schools to help students protect themselves during emergencies.
The nation is bleeding, our homes are empty, our hearts are broken. We are here to speak out against the terrifying rise in the abductions, cold-blooded killings of our innocent children. It is horrific that a young girl cannot walk to school, pray in her estate, or run an errand without the fear of being snatched away and murdered.
And that report leads us to a very fast short break right here on Easy Friday. Don't go too far, because right after the break, I'll be back with more reports.
Know what's inside that prepackaged food? Those unhealthy ultra-processed foods high in sugar, salt or unhealthy fats can lead to diseases.
According to the Ministry of Health, approximately 39% of all deaths in Kenya are as a result of non-communicable diseases such as obesity, diabetes, cancer and high blood pressure. The foods and drinks we consume every day can affect our health more than we realize.
Clear information on packages about what's in our food can help us have a healthy diet. From the Food Policy Coalition Kenya.
Wakenya, ni wakati mwingine wa kuhakikisha kuwa umefile KRA returns. Je, uko rada una challenge yoyote? Usiwe na shaka. KRA wakishirikiana na KBC Channel 1 wanakuja hapo ulipo kusaidia kufile returns na kulipia ushuru wako. Jiunge na msafara wa KRA Roadshow, uwe fiti mambo ya returns.
Tarehe 29 na 30 mwezi Mei, kliniki zetu zitakuwa Machakos karibu na Cathedral Church, Voi eneo la Generation, Mombasa Kusini eneo la Naivas Ukunda Mall. Njoo usaidiwe kufile returns zako za KRA na kulipia ushuru.
Tarehe 30 Juni kwa mlangoni. Usingoje hadi dakika za mwisho. File KRA returns mapema. Ishi bila stress. Jijue, jibeta. KRA, tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
The Thematic Week program brings together Kenya's top leaders under the theme Education, Skills and the Future. From Thursday to Saturday, 28th to 30th May 2026, join leading education stakeholders and His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, for 4 days of transformative dialogue, innovation, leadership and inclusion. Discover bold ideas shaping the future of learning, skills development and opportunity for generations to come. Be part of the conversation driving Kenya's educational transformation forward. Watch the Thematic Week program live from Wagberry Primary School, Wajir County on KBC Channel 1.
Walitualika wakajiandaa wakapata hasara, sisi hatukuenda.
Kwani tena ulipata hasara kubwa?
Na yote sababu yako ujue.
Kwanza, asubuhi yuko hapa. Akukope pesa. Ushamlipa na juu yake akukope. Landlord akukopa, akukopa yeye. Mchukulie pesa hapo.
Yule rafiki yako alikuwa ananiambia ananipa mimi kodi, ati mimi nakuja kusema urongo. Sasa unamsikia anahama bila alikwambia wewe?
Si mzee Mombasa ulitaka uone na maarifa mwenyewe. Haya huyu. Jumatatu gani? Hivi leo nilikuwa wahama kama mimi sikukuona na mzee Mombasa. Silikuwa mzee Mombasa atanishika mimi. Nilikuwa wahama bila kutoaga, si mzee Mombasa alikuwa atanishika mimi. Na nimlipe hizo pesa. Utalipa hata mimi niko tayari maarifa utoi kitu wala utoke bila kulipa pesa.
Mtetee tafadhali.
Kutetea nani?
Welcome back. For those joining us right now, this is Easy Friday. Now, preparations for the 63rd Madaraka Day celebrations in Wajir County are in top gear. Construction works at the state-of-the-art stadium with a 10,000-seater capacity are almost complete, with locals hailing the opportunity to host the event.
Wajir Stadium on Friday was a beehive of activity as the government officials were doing their final touches ahead of the 63rd Madaraka Day celebrations.
We are very happy to host Madaraka Day, and we are set and we are prepared for everything. As you can see, the stage is very set and everything is lighting from a different perspective. Tunasema tunangoja rais aweze kuja huku. We are very ready to receive him.
The team to entertain guests on the material day making their final rehearsals. Security in around the 10,000-seater stadium has already been scaled up.
Sisi kama watu wa Wajir tuko tayari. Leo mnaona preparation venye iko. On Monday tuko tayari sisi wote tukutane hapa kwa baraza Wajir Stadium.
Bara kama 9 zamani tulikuwa tunatembea ndani ya mchanga, na hiyo ni maendeleo na tunasema asante, na bado tunangoja maendeleo mengine.
Residents who spoke to KBC Channel 1 could not hide their joy. They say the celebration is a big blessing to the county as it will bring much development to the area.
Tumeletewa maendeleo na biashara iko sawa, na tunaomba maendeleo mengine tujengewe hata pale nyingine kama hii.
Sisi sasa tunamshukuru rais wetu ambaye unatufanyia kila kitu kusherehe Madaraka Day, the first time of Wajir. That is, thank you for everything umetuletea sherekea hapo Wajir.
They, however, called on the government to address water scarcity and unemployment amongst the youth.
Umetuletea maendeleo ya barabara ambayo tunatembelea saa hii, ni nzuri sana, tunashukuru kwako rais. Pia tunaomba kazi kwa vijana. Kuna shida ya maji, kama rais unaweza shughulikia hiyo, tutafurahia sana na kuendelea kukusifu hapa Wajir.
The Principal Secretary in charge of the State Department for Investment and Assets Management at the National Treasury, Wangunda, has underscored the need for partnerships with private institutions in bridging the financial gap to implement infrastructural projects. Speaking in Suna East, Migori County, where Safaricom PLC Foundation has commenced the construction of modern classrooms at Wasion Primary School, Wangunda said revenue allocated to the counties is insufficient to meet the infrastructural needs of all schools in the county. Safaricom PLC Foundation Chairman Joe Ogutu said the project, which is being undertaken through the M-Pesa Foundation, will cost 72 million shillings and includes the construction of modern classrooms, a computer laboratory and a kitchen at the school.
What we collect as domestic revenue within ourselves, 60% goes to service our debt. Another 30% goes on recurrent expenditure. The 10% remaining for development is not enough to develop what we are talking about. And therefore, we move now to partner with the private institutions to come and assist in development of our infrastructure.
Safaricom's two foundations are putting money in this project to prepare our learners to a digital future, and therefore they can be globally competitive. So as part of this initiative, M-Pesa Foundation is committing to do 500 schools across the country over the next 5 years. So that's 100 schools per year up to the year 2030.
A multi-agency search operation led by the Kenya Coast Guard Service is ongoing for a 13-year-old boy who reportedly drowned while attempting to rescue another person at Kibokoni area, Mvita Sub-County, Mombasa County. Despite the teenager's successful rescue efforts, strong ocean currents reportedly overwhelmed him before he disappeared beneath the water. This and more stories making our county news roundup.
The incident has sparked outrage among family members and residents who accused the Kenya Coast Guard Service of delaying its response despite being alerted shortly after the incident occurred. Residents claimed that nearly 5 hours after the boy disappeared, no official rescue team had arrived at the scene. Ups.
Wamepigia simu kwa kila njia. Tukaambia usaidizi unakuja mpaka sasa. Kilichobakia ni kumwomba Mwenyezi Mungu amjalie mtoto tumpate.
Elsewhere, Larry Member of Parliament Mburu Kahangara has pledged improved security and enhanced government services in Homa Bay County in border surveillance, additional dispatch of police officers and civil registration services following an oversight visit by the National Assembly's Administration and Internal Security Committee.
We are promising to ensure that there is funding so that we have enough coast guards and they have boats. Then we can be able to do some surveillance on our borders.
Separately, the National Assembly Committee on Social Protection, led by Kipkelion West Member of Parliament Hilary Kosgei, visited Kilifi County and has taken issue with the rising cases of sexual violence, especially defilement of children in Kilifi County. In a recent case, a 7-year-old child was sexually violated and strangled.
Protection of children and the fight against GBV is more important than building a road. Because what will the road be for if at that time we don't have the children, we have lost people, cases like a child we had of baby Kezia, 7-year-old girl who was killed, a life lost for no good reason.
Meanwhile, former councillors who served in municipalities before the introduction of county governments are seeking President William Ruto's intervention to address delayed payment of their retirement benefits.
We had the Finance Minister, Honorable Bandi, where he says he needs a legal way. He needs a law to let him pay. Yes, we agreed.
Finally, the County Assembly of Siaya is blaming the County Executive's Human Resource Department for gross inefficiency that has seen more than 500 permanent staff and casuals go unpaid for 2 months due to the lack of personal file numbers.
We want you to address yourself to that matter and give us timelines with clear strategies on how this has to be solved, not later than end of this financial year.
Joy Naomi, Easy Friday.
The incidents of fire tragedies that have schools in the country in the past have often sparked calls for measures to avert a recurrence and the resultant wanton loss of lives. These measures informed regulations put in place to ensure safety of learners in boarding schools. But as Aaron Marie reports, these regulations seem not to have been adhered to, given circumstances under which fatalities have occurred in recent tragedies.
The cycle of fires in school in Kenya highlights systemic failures in ensuring student safety.
The problem that we are witnessing is a case where nobody takes seriously those regulations.
The Ministry of Education has introduced a safety standard manual for schools, mandating adequate emergency exits.
Dormitory construction. That a dormitory cannot be constructed without ample ventilation. That the windows should be wide enough.
Regular fire drills and disaster preparedness plans. However, compliance is often superficial, with many schools adhering to those guidelines only during inspections.
Very punitive conditions, like now we have grills, we have, dormitories are locked, so which means in the event of emergency, there is no room to escape.
After the Hillside and Russia Academy tragedy in September 2024 that claimed 21 lives, the Ministry of Education promised nationwide inspection to address safety gaps.
The Section 64 of the Basic Education Act, which is the Education Standards and Quality Assurance Council, which is an independent and professional council, which should be helping the minister himself to understand what could be the dangers.
And the subsequent report faulted several boarding schools. The Kenguli report, for instance, called for stronger counselling system and improved dormitory safety. Yet, here we are.
Nobody is ensuring that they are enforced. You'd be asking yourself, what happened after the Endarasha? 2 years on, the parents are still struggling even just to get to understand what really happened.
Notably, the incident disproportionately affect girls' boarding schools.
You would hardly find these problems, this kind of system in boys' schools. I remember in our high school, our dormitories, actually, the doors were open 24 hours.
Experts argue that while discipline is crucial, confinement measures can endanger students during emergencies.
There has to be a more gender and girl-sensitive ways of protecting them, where you balance between discipline and also safety and security for them.
If only the safety regulations were adhered to, such grief could have been averted. Reporting for Easy Friday, I'm Aaron Marie.
Welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at all the business stories making headlines tonight. And we do have Trevor in studio. Trevor, welcome so much to Easy Friday. I know it's not your first time, but it's my first time anchoring Easy Friday with you. Welcome, and I can't wait to listen to what you have for us in store in terms of all that's making headlines in the world of business tonight. Trevor?
Here on Easy Friday. It's now that time for me to give you business news. Welcome, my name is Trevor Mendo. Now, high taxation and limited accessibility continues to hinder adoption of safer nicotine alternatives such as nicotine pouches and vapes. This is slowing Kenya's progress toward a smoke-free society. The Path to Smoke-Free Index ranked Kenya 75th out of 101 countries globally, assessing countries based on accessibility, affordability, and acceptability of safer nicotine alternatives for adult smokers seeking to quit cigarettes. Dutamukami now tells us more.
12,000 adults die annually in Kenya from smoking-related illnesses, despite a decline in smoking prevalence from 15% in 2000 to 8% in 2025. This is according to a new report released ahead of World No Tobacco Day, which now shows that Kenya continues to lag behind several African countries in efforts to transition smokers away from combustible tobacco products. The Path to Smoke-Free Index ranked Kenya 75th out of 101 countries globally, assessing countries based on accessibility, affordability, and acceptability of safer nicotine alternatives for adult smokers seeking to quit cigarettes.
This progress is not fast enough. We already have a strong foundation. Kenya's regulatory framework recognizes innovative products such as nicotine pouches, and this positions us as a leader in acceptability. However, without making these alternatives more affordable and widely accessible, their potential remains unrealized.
While Kenya ranked among the top countries globally for recognizing and regulating alternative nicotine products, such as nicotine pouches, the report notes that high taxation and limited accessibility continue to hinder adoption. Kenya ranked 74th in accessibility and 60th in affordability, raising concerns that alternatives such as nicotine pouches and vapes could become just as inaccessible as traditional cigarettes. The report further shows that African countries including Egypt, Algeria, Morocco and Ghana are performing better in supporting smoke-free alternatives, with Egypt ranking second globally. Stakeholders are now calling for policies that make safer nicotine alternatives more affordable and accessible to smokers seeking to transition away from combustible tobacco products.
When safer alternatives remain expensive or difficult to access, we deny millions a practical pathway to reduce harm. Compared to several African countries that are advancing more effectively towards a smoke-free future, Kenya's slow progress should concern us.
Ndotamo Kami for Easy Friday.
Let's speak matters tea levy, and Kagwe tea factory officials are calling on Parliament to reject a clause in the tea regulations of 2026 proposing to introduce a 0.8% levy on tea exports on account that it will eat into farmers' earnings. Led by Kagwe tea factory chairperson William Githombi, the officials say the new levy could also push up the price of Kenyan tea in the international markets, thereby hurting sales.
To maintain a farm, tea farm inakuwaga very costly, so hatutaki sasa pesa itolewe kwa mkulima tena ipelekwe kwa serikali, na bila tu tunalipia serikali kodi zingine. Hata wakati mafuta iliongezwa tena tu tunatumia, kuna ile kodi tunalipia mafuta.
Are they zombies? I don't know.
Who are you? Requiem General of Rakshasa Street. And on this street here, I make the rules.
My name is Joseph Kabai.
I'm Trixie Adala.
She just left the bus she was sitting in.
I got to the bus that I was just unsettled. I was looking at everyone and I'm like, I don't think if there is anyone to talk to here.
Then the only vacant seat was next to me. I used to send her WhatsApp text messages. She could reply after 1 week.
And then he told me, you know, by the way, me, I don't want a girlfriend. And somebody warned me, don't go to Ngara kushona wedding gown.
Ukasema mimi naenda Ngara.
Alikuwa ameenda kaweka mpaka purple hapa yenye inashine.
Our last one, Emmanuel, 5 years right now. 1 month after, anamosha jioni 7-8 hapo hivyo, kafu ikianza. The baby convulsed, akakufa. But we prayed and he came back to life.
Yes.
And welcome back to Easy Friday Business. We continue with with fuel supply, and Energy and Petroleum Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi says that Kenya has secured alternative routes to bring in fuel under government-to-government arrangement without additional charges to consumers. Here's Benson Riba with the details.
Supply in parts of the country experienced disruptions earlier this month after what Energy and Petroleum Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi says was caused by a technical and administrative hitch. Wandayi is assuring Kenyans about steady fuel supplies, noting that companies under the government-to-government agreement have diversified their markets and routes away from the Strait of Hormuz.
The G framework has also enabled greater diversification in sourcing fuel. Cargoes are now being loaded from a broader range of international supply points. including Europe, the US Gulf Coast, India, and the Red Sea region.
Wandai says the routing of fuel destined for Kenya will not affect the prices since the cost of petroleum products are fixed in the contract.
Our freight and premium under the G2G framework is $78 US per ton for diesel, it's $84 US per ton for petrol, and $97 US per ton for jet A1 fuel. While some markets which were exposed to open spot purchasing experienced freight and premium costs rising to approximately US $250 to $300 per ton during this period.
The Cabinet Secretary projects that fuel prices will stabilize in coming weeks as global demand eases and more companies reroute their fuel cargo away from the Strait of Hormuz.
There are early signs that global pressures may begin to ease. Changes in demand patterns and improved supply routing are gradually stabilizing international markets.
Benson Rioba reporting for Easy Friday.
Now, moving on, you risk 5 years in jail or a fine of up to 5 million shillings if you obstruct the Kenya Bureau of Standards officers from inspecting your premises. This is part of the proposed regulations by the Kenya Bureau of Standards as it seeks to strengthen standards in the country. KEBS is currently collecting views on a raft of changes as it seeks to strengthen standards regulations in the country. Under the new regulations, manufacturing will be expanded to include software development, ICT installation, and ICT installations. The regulations also seek to levy 0.2% of monthly net turnover for businesses with an annual turnover of 5 million shillings.
This space trust is very important. And through these regulations, we are elaborating what the law had already provided in a clearer manner so that responsibilities are clearly assigned. And when we do this, when these regulations get enacted, then we shall have created very important trust infrastructures in the product certification space. Through that trust, certificates issued in Kenya, test reports issued in Kenya, product certification marks issued in Kenya can be trusted not only locally but also regionally and across the entire continent. This is important for us because those are the keys to unlock the bigger market within the region and the bigger market within the continent. That way, then Kenyan goods will be recognized across the continent and across the region, and that way we'll enhance manufacturing in this country, create employment, and also ensure that we grow our economy.
Cooperative Bank of Kenya has been named the SME Bank of the Year in Africa at the 2026 African Bank Awards in recognition of its role in financing small and medium-sized enterprises and expanding financial inclusion across East Africa. The award that was presented during the African Development Bank annual meetings in Brazzaville, Congo, recognized the lender for its support of SMEs that are a major driver of employment and wealth creation across Africa. The Cooperative Bank Group Managing Director Gideon Muriuki says the recognition is a validation of the lender's support for entrepreneurs who are an engine of inclusive economic growth. The African Bank Awards recognize individuals and institutions making significant contributions to the transformation and growth of Africa's financial sector. And that's all we had in our business news tonight. Thank you so much for your valued company over this whole week. That's why we close the markets out. My name is Trevor Ngendo. We're taking a short break now, and Bernard Okuma is coming up next with sports. Have a lovely weekend ahead.
Was gliding down the street on his skateboard when he fell and in a moment was somewhere beyond this world. What he saw didn't just surprise him, it shook him to
to his core.
Like a hand right out of a glove, I found myself looking down at my own body, but it wasn't me.
The good news of the world is Jesus Christ, right? Yeah. And it's hard to talk to people about that. But you bring out a soccer ball and you do some clinics and you bring out some food and, you know.
And I said, what will happen to the children? She said, we have no other place to go, and therefore they'll be returned to the streets.
And time for us to take a look at what's happening in the world of sports. Some Bernardo Kumu. The national rugby sevens team Shujaa hopes of advancing to the main cup quarterfinals of the ongoing HSBC Sevens World Championship in Valladolid were deemed after losing 14-0 to South Africa during their second Group A match played in Spain.
Second successive defeat for Shujaa after falling 15-10 to Australia and now face an uphill task of advancing to the knockout phase. Shilton Van Wyk and Sebastian Job scored converted tries to grab the emphatic victory. Kenya will face Great Britain on Saturday in their final Group A fixture. After two opening matches, Kenya is ranked bottom of Group A with 1 point, while South Africa tops the group with 6 points. Australia and Great Britain are placed second and third respectively. After the Valladolid leg, teams will head to Bordeaux for the final leg of the World Championship scheduled for 5th to 7th of June. Bottom 4 teams of the 12-team standings will be relegated to the lower tier.
Moving on, the Kenya national under-17 women's soccer team junior starlets are just one step away from qualifying for the final round of the FIFA under-17 Women's World Cup qualifier as they prepare to face Uganda in the return leg of the second round tomorrow at the Nyayo National Stadium. Take a look.
The junior starlets head into the crucial encounter with confidence as they will be playing in front of their home fans after securing a hard-fought 1-1 draw away in Uganda during the first leg. Speaking ahead of the match, head coach Mildred Cheche says the team is well prepared and motivated to deliver a positive result at home.
All the players are mentally prepared because playing at home for them, it's an advantage, and also playing with their home fans. With the support from the home fans, I think so much better for them, unlike playing away. So most of them mentally, they are prepared, they are charged to give a good performance tomorrow.
The winner of tomorrow's clash will advance to the next and final qualification round, where they will face either Tanzania or South Africa for a place at the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in Morocco.
Our main goal remains qualifying for the World Cup, but we are taking it one game at a time. So winning each and every game matters. And when we win each and every game, it means we have a better chance in qualifying for the 2026 World Cup.
Coach Cheche called on Kenyans to turn up in large numbers at Nyayo Stadium to rally behind the junior starlets as they continue their quest for their second qualification.
To all the Kenyan fans, please come out in large numbers. You've never failed us. The girls are expecting to see you. Come out in large numbers and support our girls.
And indeed, we wish the junior starlets to get the job done tomorrow against Uganda. It's all square, 1-1 after the first leg last weekend in Kampala. And Embakasi girls are crowned winners of the women's football title during the Kenya Secondary School Games, Term 2 ball games. Embakasi South after defeating Kware Secondary School by a goal to nil at Embakasi Girls School grounds here in Nairobi. After a barren first half, Christina Koth scored the all-important goal in the second half to hand the hosts Embakasi Girls the football trophy. Meanwhile, Kware Secondary School were crowned champions of the girls volleyball after defeating Embakasi girls by 3-1.
Tunasikia poa. Hatukuwa tuna expect by the way, lakini tulikuwa tunajua tutashindwa. Hiyo ndio kitu tulijiwekea kwa mindset.
We feel that it's very important for children to be active, particularly girls, because there's a huge drop-off of adolescent girls in sporting activities when they hit adolescence, much more than the boys, and it does impact them. Sports helps them to build their leadership skills, helps them to build their self-confidence, and helps to prepare them for the real world.
Our aim as Eastwood Foundation, we empower football young talent from the grassroots level, and then we see how they can develop from the grassroots to the top, to the elite, to the A-game series.
Kware dominated the girls' netball, seeing off Embakasi girls narrowly 2018. The schools battled for honors in 3 disciplines: soccer, volleyball, and netball.
This is the first time to introduce netball. Tukikuja hata hatukuwa tunajua tutawin, lakini mazoezi yetu imefanya tumewin.
Target yetu ni tunataka kuwa the best than this tumefanya. Alafu pia tunataka kuwakilisha shule yetu ijulikane sana. Juu hii kitu ni kitu ya kwanza ambapo hatujaiweka kwa hii shule. So tunataka tuwe maarufu. Tutambulishe hadi principal wetu, tujulikane kwa raise the shine.
Top 2 schools across the 3 disciplines will now represent Nairobi South Sub-County in the Nairobi East Regional Games scheduled June 17th to 21st.
Na kwanza kuwashukuru macoaches, wamepiga kazi safi sana. Competition iko juu sana. Tukiangalia wachezaji wamenolewa vizuri, wanacheza mchezo wa hali ya juu, na nikiangalia tukienda katika sub-region, tutakuwa washindi.
And to athletics now, where the world 800 meters champion Emmanuel Wanyonyi and the world 1500 meters bronze medalist Reynold Cheruyot are set to spearhead Kenya's charge for glory at the Rabat Diamond League on Sunday. Wanyonyi will be aiming to make a comeback following last year's competition in Rabat, where he finished third, and also build on a series of victories in Oslo, Stockholm, Monaco, and the London Diamond League meetings. Cheruyot, on the other hand, will be aiming to improve his second season after narrowly missing top honors in the last meeting. World 800 meters champion Lilian Odira will feature in a second time at the big stage with world bronze medalist Edmond Serem, featuring in the men's steeplechase. 6-time Africa javelin champion Julius Yego will be eyeing a perfect start to the competition after an outstanding performance in Accra, Ghana during the Africa Senior Athletics Championships. And the Kenya Aquatics Long Course Championships are set to commence today, or rather, at the Kasarani Aquatic Stadium, bringing together some of the country's top swimmers in a 3-day competition that ends this weekend. Among those set to compete are Visa Dolphin Swim Club swimmers Dais Bashir and Hussein Wario, who head into the championship in high spirits following strong performances at the Kiambu Aquatic Invitational Championship. Hussein secured qualification for the national event after meeting the required standards during the Kiambu meet, while Bashir posted a time of 30.00 seconds in the 50 meters freestyle race. And definitely that does it from me. Thank you so much for watching. But remember, tomorrow Junior Starlets will be playing Uganda. That's from 3 p.m. in the second leg of their second round 2026 World Cup Under-17 qualifier. So wish the Junior Starlets all the best as they seek to make it for the second time in 3 years to the global showpiece. I'm Bernardo Kumu. Have a lovely weekend.
Very much, Bernard Okumu, for keeping us up to speed with all the sports stories making headlines this evening. Yes, Thank you very much, Bernard Okumu, for keeping us up to speed with all the sports stories making headlines today. That's a wrap for Easy Friday tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us since 9 p.m. We do not take that for granted. Our sign language interpreter this evening has been Byron Abuli. And right after Easy Friday, DJ Cool Jacks will be back with the Disco Funk show to ease you into your weekend. So you had better stay around after Easy Friday so that you can enjoy all the hits and tracks that he will send your way. My name is Karen Kibet. Do have yourself a lovely weekend, which ends on Monday. So the work week begins on Tuesday. Do enjoy your weekend. Good night.
Waiting for you today.
Hi guys, my name is Tamara Merino Angoi. I'm a model and I'm 10 years old. I started modeling when I was around 5 years old. It was hard at first, but I still managed until this day.
Well, in today's book, we explore different careers and find out what do these people do? And who knows, maybe it will give you some ideas of careers that you can take. Our book is What Do You Want to Be?
Big blue balloons bob by the big bridge. The big balloons bob by the big bridge.
And today I'm going to show you how to make chicken noodle soup.
I have no more tears to shed. I want to be in charge of my life because I'm a boy child and I'm not taking the back seat anymore, not unless it is in a limo or a Mercedes Benz.
Walitualika wakajiandaa wakapata hasara, sisi hatukuenda.
Kwa nini tena walipata hasara kubwa?
Na yote sababu yako ujue.
Kwanza, asubuhi yuko hapa akukope pesa. Ushamlipa na juu yake akukope. Landlord akukopa, akukopa yeye. Tutumchukulie pesa hapa.
Yule rafiki yangu alikuwa ananiambia ananipa mimi kodi, ati mimi nakuja kusema urongo. Sasa unamsikia anahama bila alikwambia wewe?
Si mzee Mombasa ulitaka uone na maarifa mwenyewe. Haya huyu. Jumatatu gani? Hivi leo nilikuwa wahama kama mimi sikukuona na mzee Mombasa. Silikuwa mzee Mombasa atanishika mimi. Nilikuwa wahama bila kutuaga, si mzee Mombasa alikuwa atanishika mimi. Na nimlipe hizo pesa. Utalipa hata mimi niko tayari maarifa utoi kitu wala utoki bila kulipa pesa.
Mtetee tafadhali.
Mtetee nani?
Cold Jazz.
Listen the game.